Large language models, or LLMs, they feel like pure magic, right? They can whip up a poem, spit out lines of code, and answer these incredibly complex questions in just seconds. But how do you take that magic, that cool demo, and actually turn it into a business tool you can rely on? Well, that is the real challenge, and that's what we're going to dig into today.
So this is it. This is the fundamental question that every single developer, every business leader is wrestling with right now. An LLM can be absolutely brilliant 1 second, and then, well, the next second it can confidently just make something up. So how in the world do you build a real product on something that can be so unpredictable? How do you make it safe, reliable, and, not break the bank?
And this visualizes the gap perfectly. The demo is all about that wow factor. It's creative, it's exciting, it gets people talking. But a real product has to be, well, kind of boringly dependable. It has to be reliable every single time. It has to be safe for your users, safe for your data. And it has to be efficient enough that it doesn't just become a money pit. This is the journey from a fun experiment to a serious enterprise-grade tool.
Okay, so let's get into the weeds. What is it that makes this so difficult? This is what we call the LLM production problem.
What's really fascinating here is just how different these challenges are from traditional software. We are talking about models with billions of parameters that are incredibly expensive just to run. They're super sensitive to the context you feed them. A tiny little change in a prompt can give you a wildly different result. And how do you even measure if it's correct when it can hallucinate or reflect biases you didn't even know were there? It's a whole new ballgame.
So this unique set of problems, well, it demands a unique solution. A whole new discipline built for this new era of AI. And this is exactly where LLMOps comes into the picture. To put it simply, LLMOps is the playbook. It's how we take these incredibly powerful but kind of wild and unpredictable models and tame them for professional use. It's the whole set of practices and tools that manages the entire lifecycle, from that first idea to a scalable app that can serve millions of users.
This quote just nails it. LLMOps is that crucial bridge. Without it, let's be honest, LLMs are just fascinating toys. But with it, they become these powerful enterprise-grade engines that you can actually build a real business on top of.
And this is exactly why we can't just reuse our old methods. Just look at this comparison. With traditional machine learning, data meant you were spending ages on something called feature engineering. With LLMs, it's all about prompt design and building out a knowledge base. Monitoring used to be about simple accuracy. Now we're on the hunt for these abstract problems like hallucinations and toxicity. And yeah, as you can see, the cost is just in a completely different universe.
Okay, so we've established that we need it. But what does LLOps actually look like when the rubber hits the road? Let's open up the playbook and see how it works.
So here's the high-level lifecycle, the bird's eye view. You start by defining the problem. That's standard for any project. But then it gets very, very specific to LLMs. You have to master the art of the prompt, pick the right model for the job, get it deployed, and then you wrap the whole thing in this continuous cycle of monitoring and governance. It never really stops.
If you boil it all down to one thing, LLMOps is about managing the conversation. It's a mindset shift. Unlike traditional code, you don't command an LLM, you prompt it, you persuade it, you guide it. And mastering that interaction through prompt engineering, that's the absolute foundational skill.
But wait a minute. What if you need the model to know about your specific stuff, like your company's internal documents or the specs for your products? Well, for that, you use a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Just think of it like this. You're giving the LLM an open book test where the book is your own private, up-to-the-minute information. And here's how that little magic trick works. When a user asks the question, the system doesn't just blindly send it to the LLM. No. First, it searches your private knowledge base to find relevant documents. Then, it takes those documents and bundles them up with the original question into a new, super-informed prompt, and only then does the LLM generate a response, now that it's grounded in your specific data. Pretty clever, right?
And that's the bottom line, the real benefit. RAG makes the model an expert on your world without the astronomical cost and the mind-boggling complexity of trying to retrain one of these giant models from scratch. It is an absolute game changer for creating custom, accurate AI applications.
All right, so your app is live. How do you know if it's actually working well? You can forget about simple accuracy scores. In the world of LLMOps, we're looking at things like the hallucination rate, the toxicity of the output, how fast it responds, and, this is a big one, token usage, which are basically the little pieces of words the model is processing.
And let's be crystal clear about this. Every single token costs money. The words you put in the prompt, the words in the answer, they all add up. A poorly designed system can quickly become a financial black hole. So effective LLMOps is also about smart cost management.
But beyond the cost, there are some really serious risks. I mean, letting an LLM interact with your users and your data opens up these brand new ways for people to attack and misuse it. And this is where governance and security become absolutely 100% non-negotiable.
We're talking about whole new kinds of threats here. Things like prompt injection, where a user actually tricks the model into ignoring its original instructions, or jailbreaking, where they try to bypass all of its safety filters. And that's not even mentioning the classic risks of leaking sensitive data or violating major compliance rules like GDPR.
Here is a simple but shockingly powerful example of prompt injection. A malicious user could type in something just like this, trying to trick the model into revealing its core instructions or some other secret info. It literally turns the model's greatest strength, its ability to follow instructions, against itself.
But here's the good news. For every risk, the LLMOps framework gives us a defense. We use guardrails to keep the model's behavior in check, content moderation filters to block harmful output, and data masking to protect sensitive info. It's all about building a secure container around that powerful LLM core.
Man, this field is moving at an incredible pace. It's almost impossible to keep up. So, where is all of this heading? Let's take a quick peek at the future of LLMOps.
We're heading towards a world with multi-agent systems. Think teams of AIs working together on complex problems. That's going to require even smarter orchestration, models that can actually improve themselves over time, and rock-solid testing pipelines. And as the regulators start to catch up, having clear audit trails is going to become absolutely essential.
So, let's bring it all home with this one final thought. LLMOps isn't just some technical niche. It is the essential discipline that closes that huge gap between the promise of AI and the reality of a working, valuable product.
And this leaves us with a really provocative question to chew on. As the underlying models themselves become more of a commodity, the real competitive edge isn't going to be just having the smartest model. It's going to be having the smartest, safest, and most efficient operations wrapped around it. The future isn't just about building AI. It's about building it right. So the question is, how will you build?